Welcome back everyone to Verticality, to another company of heroes to regular guest. This time it is going to be a 2v2 sent in by the mighty staple gun of Doom. He's going to be playing as the Wehrmacht in the eastern spawn of Liernau, and his buddy is of course Billjoy. And on the opposing side are going to have Co11 211 No 11. Sure. Playing as the Soviets, and Timothy 70417. Damn, these people like numbers. Yeah, he's gonna be playing as the Brits. Brits, getting out a Vickers already against the German MG42. So, two Wehrmacht on Liernau. Of course, going to be fairly dangerous because of all the buildings for the Allies. I would really like the Allies to get some mortars to counter the MGs, because obviously there's going to be MGs. The problem with two Wehrmacht, of course, is the early game. If you get a few light vehicles as the allies, you can really put the Wehrmacht in trouble. Where are the... What? Why are they lagging behind? What's going on there? Anyway, engineers capturing the house and machine gun capturing the small house right near the fuel point. Should be okay for the allies to keep that, but they're going to get surrounded on a few sides. Of course, the German MG42 suppresses the infantry sections already. The German MG suppresses the grenadiers, so I'm thinking that the allies will win this engagement, mostly because the Vickers should be able to force the grenadiers back before the MG42 forces the infantry section back. Both sides really need to send some help, though. We have a Grenadier squad and a Maxim coming in, so both sides going for lots of machine guns, and we do have a mortar coming in from Co. So that is a very good choice. Also mortar coming in from Billjoy. So both sides have a way to actually indirect fire on the MGs, which is indeed the best decision out of both of them. I'm really not certain that either side should be taking this engagement. I really don't like slugging it out for buildings, but at this point I think that both sides are just trying to hold some areas of the map, and here comes the mortar fire from Billjoy. Gonna get a bit of damage done on the Vickers and force it away, so very good job from that mortar. And it even wipes it. Very lucky that it actually wiped out the machine gun, and he should definitely steal it as quickly as possible. Mighty Staple Gun of Doom actually went for the Spearhead Doctrine already, so we know that he can go for a mortar half-track, but most likely he's going to be biding his time for the Tiger later on. Getting a second machine gun for free would definitely be... Oh, getting a first machine gun replacement for free would be definitely very good. Not the best loss over here for the machine gun. In the meantime, Billjoy in the north is pushing up very well against the Soviet player, because the Soviet player was kind of forced to send more troops to the center to help out his ally, and so he lost a lot of ground in the north. These pioneers are going to get another point captured under the belt, and the MG should be able to capture the VP. If the allies lose all of the VPs, they're going to start to bleed out a little bit, and that would not be very good for them. Indeed, the Maxim is also going down from the flank by these German troops, and I'm thinking that there he goes. Unfortunately, it only gets... Well, looks like the actual gun was lost somewhere. There's only the carriage, so it's not going to get recruited anytime soon. This Vickers really needs to get recruited as quickly as possible. These infantry sections are trying to get it. They're going to sacrifice their own lives for it. Might actually work. They might be able to escape. Yes, there's only a Pioneer squad over here, almost taking it down. These two Grenadier squads might have moved in to actually support. That's a very bad loss for the Germans. They should have captured that machine gun as quickly as possible. That was very lucky on the part of the Allies that they managed to actually keep that. And also another machine gun goes down. So all of the machine guns basically being knocked out. Let's see if anyone's going for light vehicles. Not the Brits. The Brits have the platoon command post, but they don't have the Vickers or the AC researched. The Soviets do have the ability to go for what the fuck is going on? Interesting. Not the best little assault there. In the meantime, the Allies are pushing in the south and capturing a lot of points, but the problem with that on Liernau is that on the south there's only munitions points, whereas in the center and north you have the fuel points. So in the attacking department, the Allies are now going to be at a disadvantage because they prioritize the south portion of the map. And yeah, of course, Co-11 does have the ability to go for the Tank of a Battalion Command, but he doesn't have enough fuel to actually go for any light vehicles at this moment. Bill Joey has got the Leichter Mechanized Company, but he's bringing out a pack, probably a very prudent choice. He doesn't really know if the allies are going to be going for anything early on, so he just gets the anti-tank as a precaution. I think that that's pretty much the best choice, especially since he's sort of in charge of the north part of Liornell, and that's a very open ground where AT guns do excel. Mighty Staple Gun of Doom is going for Battle Phase 2. He might go for a Tier 3 and get some Panzer IVs out in the field. That's what I would do if I was him, because I know I have the advantage in terms of fuel. So I would try to get a medium tank out as quickly as possible. Also, I haven't seen any AT guns out of the allies yet. Of course, I know that Co-11 does have the Support Weapons Compagnia, and now he's bringing out some guards. So guard motor coordination coming out for him. That's going to mean T-3485s later. I'm thinking that that also means that he's not going to be going for any light vehicles anytime soon. He might want to rush to that Tier 4 to get those T-3485s and get some Katyushas out as well. This is not the best thing for the engineers. There they go. All these Grenadiers are getting kind of blobbed up, and they should definitely retreat as quickly as possible. Ooh, this might be a wipe. This Grenadier squad, I think, will get wiped. Oh no, why did you fire at the back one? Look at that. All of them are at very, very low amounts of HP. Very lucky that the Allies didn't really prioritize targets in that blob. Because if they had focused fire on one of the squads, then at least one of them would have gone down. In the meantime, Bill Joey is kind of holding the north by his sort of lonesome self. Although he seems to be losing... He's lost definitely at least one machine gun, maybe two. MG42 team, no, only one. Yes, at this point he doesn't really have a lot of manpower because he's been spending a lot of it on replacing his lost units. And in general, he's just trying to hold his own. At this point, if I was Bill Joey, I would try to go for Tier 4. Because I know that my ally, Mighty Staple Gun of Doom, should be going for a Tier 3, right? In general, also Bill Joey needs to rebuild some Grenadiers and upgrade them. I think that upgrading them right now would be a very good choice for Bill Joey. Maybe not for Mighty Staple Gun of Doom. Mighty Staple Gun of Doom is using his munitions on something. I'm guessing lots of rifle grenades and maybe some mines. Does he have any mines being positioned? Doesn't seem like it. He should definitely go for some mines, though. Yeah, I think that essentially Mighty Staple Gun of Doom is going to be trying to get a Panther as quickly as possible. The only obstacle to that might be the British player right now, because he's got a few Piats under his belt and also an AEC. So the AEC can use, after Veterancy 1, target Tread. And if you can indeed stun up or even better damage the engine of the Panzer IV, then the Piats can be very dangerous. In general, oh, there goes a mortar. And there goes a flamethrower, so basically everything's dying. Oh, that's where the munitions went. 9 munitions for the flame projectors on the half-track for Mighty Staple Gun of Doom. Already proving it's worth killing that engineer squad in the building. Of course, this is an extremely dangerous unit, especially to garrisons. If there are units garrisoned in houses, etc., it is not easy for them to survive the flame projector. They need to be very quick in getting out of the house, and especially for these support weapons that have a setup and pack up time, then the flame projector is indeed very dangerous. Right now the AC is just moving in north, and that's way too close. Panzerfaust coming in from the Grenadiers. That's going to give them some free experience. Unfortunately, these two MG42s don't have Veterancy 1. If they had, they would have been able to pop those armor-piercing incendiary rounds and destroy the AC. At this point, Timothy doesn't have any doctrines picked. He has the Royal Artillery, Special Weapons, and Mobile Assault. Of all of those, Special Weapons, I think, is my favorite. But in general, I think that Artillery would also be a pretty decent choice at this point in the match. AT Gun gonna get recruited? No, it looks like he values his Grenadier squad at Veterancy 2 more than he does destroying the AC. Not sure I agree entirely, but yes, the Veteran 62 Grenadier is indeed very important. I think he's trying to just chase down and wait for the Fire Panzerfaust. He's very close to the Panzerfaust. I think this AC is gonna go down, definitely. Not gonna be able to escape. Here comes the Panzerfaust. He's microing it. Smoke will not be in time, and the AC goes down to that relentless chase of the Grenadiers. Also, more Panzerfaust coming in on a T-70 in the south, so Co-11 going for the Tier 3, actually. Not the best choice at this point in the game. It's just way too late for a T-70, and it looks like the second Panzerfaust misses and hits the ground. Or maybe it just does not fire. Anyway, yeah, he has gotten the guards, and in general, I don't think right now T-70s or Su-76s would benefit him. Maybe the M5 half-track could be useful if he had more infantry. In general, I think that getting a Tier 3, of course he needs to get the building to get the Tier 4, but actually buying units out of it was a mistake. That's 70 fuel that he's not going to be, using anytime soon. And, of course, he would have been able to go for a Tier 4 if he had, not built that. That's 140 fuel he spent on Tier 3 units. I don't think that's a very good choice, especially considering that 140 fuel is essentially 4 minutes of his fuel income. So it's pretty... Yeah, it's a pretty high amount of fuel to spend for units that he's not going to be using all that much. T-70 especially. Su-76 is a better choice than a T-70. T-70 can only be used to harass infantry, and it's going to get shot at by the AT gun. Yep, there it goes. Not microed, unfortunately. Whereas the Su-76 can be useful against light vehicles and tanks of the Germans. 13 kills coming in, or actually 15 kills coming in for the 251 half-track with the Flamers. That's just kind of an example of how good that vehicle can be. Of course, now that the Su-76 is on the field, it's going to be a little bit harder for the Flame half-track to actually do its job. But in general, I'm expecting it to still be useful in the center of the map against all of the buildings. Hordes of infantry sections are now accompanied by sniper. I'm guessing to counter machine guns. Although he shouldn't really be keeping it blobbed with the other... Oh, very nice rifle grenade from Bill Joey. Catches the sniper and kills it. Very good job. Should be microed better, the sniper. It's definitely a unit that you can't just... Oh, there goes the half-track. Looks like it hit a mine. Good job by Co-11. He's been placing mines around. Unfortunately, he's still floating munitions, and he hasn't gone for any demo charges, which is, in my opinion, a huge mistake. He's losing engineers as well, like basically the plague. And that's not good. He's losing way too much infantry. He's got lots of manpower to spare. He should definitely replace some of his infantry squads. And, oh, what is that? 5 infantry sections out of the Brits. I think that that's a mistake. I mean, he has a lot of manpower right now that he has to spare, but that's still, like, not an excuse to go overboard on infantry. Going for 5 mainline infantry squads is going to be such a huge drain on your manpower income and your manpower reserves that eventually you're just going to be running out. Like, not just for reinforcement costs, also for upkeep. At this point, he's got 224 manpower income, and that's going to mean that essentially once he starts to get some vehicles out, it's going to get even worse. Because, of course, that's also more upkeep that he has to pay. Right now he has a Centaur, and at 18 minutes, a Centaur is, in my opinion, a big mistake. Even though Bill Joey went for a Tier 3, and Mighty Staple Gun of Doom is going for a Tier 4, I don't think that Tier 4 plus the Tiger is a good idea. I mean, I think that the point of the Tiger really is just to not have the need to go for Panthers or Broom Bears. But, oh well. Bill Joey going for a Tier 3 is interesting, though. He's also got Lightning War, so he can get the Tiger. But he's also got the Jaeger armor, so essentially all of his choices for doctrines include a heavy tank. So him going for Tier 3 does make sense, and oh, very nice rifle grenade once again. The allies absolutely need to pay more attention to their infantry and, in general, to their soft units. They need to not lose them as much. And right now, Panzer IV chases and flanks the Centaur. In the meantime, the infantry sections are trying to respond with Piat, but they don't really survive. And also, very nice flank from the pack takes down the Centaur. Of course, Su-76 also in trouble, almost saved by the smoke of the dead Centaur, but the Panzer IV relentlessly chases through the smoke, pursues on, does some... Oh, misses the last remaining shot, and I think that with this target vehicle from Co-11, there it goes. Very lucky that that Su-76 survived. 3 shots missed from the Panzer IV. Very nice usage, however, of the marked vehicle. It is indeed a very strong little ability. Doubles the damage that you inflict upon enemy vehicles. So, of course, with the Su-76, with its definitely high rate of fire and pretty decent penetration, you can indeed do a lot of damage to enemy vehicles in an unexpected manner. It's like having 2 Su-76s when only having 1. The enemies sometimes don't really expect it, and so that's really its main strength. And yeah, as you can see, Mighty Stipplegun of Doom is essentially out of manpower. He's got 4 squads that he cannot reinforce. He's also got a machine gun that he cannot reinforce. The enemy team for him doesn't really have a lot of infantry, however, to spare. Co-11 has lost all of his guards. He could go for another squad. I think I would do it if I was him. Timothy, in the meantime, he's lost 2 squads, so that's pretty good because now he's got some more manpower income. Now, though, I think he should go for some engineers. At least 1 more engineer squad and maybe 1 more infantry section. With his spare manpower, he really needs to use some of these resources, and now he's going for a Firefly, so I'm thinking that he wants to use his spare munitions as well. The Germans, however, seem to be kind of running out of resources in general, so we'll see. Map control situation is still in favor of the Allies overall, because of all the points that they have in the center and the south. Panther is on the field for Mighty Stipplegun of Doom, so no Tiger gonna be coming in for a long, long time. Stug gets marked vehicle, and so it's gonna have to retreat. And Bill Joey in general, oh, there goes the Panther. I'm pretty sure that he went in and hit a mine. Very lucky to escape, but very nice usage of that Su-76. Sacrifices it to kill the Panther. That was an extremely good trade for the Soviets. That Su-76 most definitely paid for itself. It kind of sucks to lose that veterancy-free vehicle, but hey, sometimes sacrifices have to be made, and these Grenadiers really need to retreat as quickly as possible. They're all veterancy 2 and 3. It's not worth to lose them at all. But of course, the German push actually seems to have worked a little bit. There's still a couple of flamer squads in these buildings, but they're gonna go down. And interestingly enough, these Grenadiers are just chasing through. T-34-76 seems to be a little bit more scared than he probably should be. Actually, no, there's a Stug coming in, and I'm thinking that this T-34 now has no chance. That is to say, if the Stug actually hits. First shot hits, it's gonna go out of the fog of war, though. Very nice target ground, from the Stug 3. Stug 3 almost goes down to the return fire from the Zis gun and the 6-pounder, but it escapes. Very good job from that Stug. Exactly what it's supposed to do, coming in and finishing off that T-34. So 2 Tigers are now available to the Germans. They're gonna need to wait quite a while for the resources, however, to actually call them in. Bill Joey has a minute's worth of fuel in advantage to Mighty Stipplegun of Doom, but he's still essentially 4 minutes-ish. Yeah, about 4 minutes-ish away from the Tiger. And of course, 4 or 5 minutes for both of these Germans means that the Allies still have a little bit of time before these Tigers come on the field. Now, I don't think that the Germans actually showed any doctrinal abilities being used, except maybe some Panzer Tactician from Mighty Stipplegun of Doom. So, really, the Allies don't know what's coming. But if they haven't seen any doctrinal picks or units being brought out for the Germans, I mean, it's safe to assume that at 24 minutes in the game, 25 almost, that if you haven't seen anything from enemy doctrines, then probably they're going for something big and heavy. So either Elephant or Tiger, very good move in this sort of in the light of this, very good move to go for a Su-85 force from Co-11, because of course that's a very good counter to heavy tanks, and in general, getting out a few Su-85s and Fireflies is the best choice for the Germans right now. Here comes the land mattress. I really hate the land mattress. I've said this so many times. This Grenadier squad! Oh god! This Grenadier squad, if he survives... No, okay, he dies to the land mattress. He should have died to the mortar crew regardless. Anyway, yeah, the land mattress, I don't like it. It's got way too high, you know, cooldown on his barrage ability. And in general, it's just very, very easy, I've seen, to lose it. For some reason, people really seem to lose the land mattress a lot. Of course, this is more in big team games than 2v2s or 1v1s, but still. Oh, that Firefly, very likely to escape. In the meantime, this pack has definitely proven itself worthy of the title of Panzerabwehrkanonen. Vet 2, tons of damage under its belt, even 2 kills on vehicles, so very good job. Also, Infiltration Commandos are terrible units, in my opinion. They're just too easy. It's just too easy to lose them. They're essentially Fallschirmjägers, except for the fact that Fallschirmjägers, with those FG-42s, are also effective at long ranges. Whereas the Infiltration Commandos have the advantage that they can camouflage from Veteran C0. I believe Fallschirmjägers need to wait for Veteran C1 or 2. Still, I just don't think that it's worth going for Infiltration Commandos. 440 manpower is just so expensive to pay for a squad that really can only perform the duties of, like, half of a Fallschirmjäger for the same price. But oh well, ramblings aside, it can be a very good doctrine, the Mobile Assault. Of course, the M2 Flamethrower on the Royal Engineers can be very useful. He hasn't gone for any of them. It's a situational ability, but it can be used to good effect, especially on a map like Liarno with lots of buildings. Interestingly, a second land mattress is purchased by Timothy. Not entirely sure on that. Even one seems like a lot to me. Because, of course, there was a fair few amount of Grenadiers on the field, but... like, you don't need 2 land mattresses to deal with them. Land mattresses are 40 fuel apiece, so that's why I'm kind of skeptical on the second one. I don't think that it's a very good decision for the Allies to go for so much artillery. That can be... well, that's unfortunate. Also, lots of rounds hitting the building. Not really doing anything. It might have killed something. I'm not sure. Bit of an engagement coming in the south. Big push coming in. Ooh. Mighty Staple Gun of Doom going for a Panther. And Bill Joy going for a Panzer IV. So, delaying on the Tigers. I wonder if they're waiting for the Allies to think that they're not going for Tigers. Well, it's definitely something that... okay, so they didn't think that the waiting for the Tiger was a good idea. And indeed, the land mattress actually friendly fires a infantry section. Man, I never see land mattresses doing well. Like, I know it's just a personal bias, but I never see them do well, so I'm just, like, dumbfounded. Why would you go for a land mattress? I've seen them do really, really well on occasion, but in general, I just... they're just terrible. Anyway, Pack still defending the north from vehicles. So right now it seems like Co-11 somehow lost his Su-85. He should have gone for a replacement. 2 T-34-76s right now is not something he needs. 1 T-34-76 is plenty, because the T-34-76's role is to be an anti-infantry vehicle that can go around the map and be expendable. So you don't really need 2 of them, because in a mainline fight, like as you can see over here, in a bit of a pitched battle, you don't really want T-34-76s because they just don't have the firepower, and in general, they also don't have the armor to survive such a fight. So in general, I don't like the T-34-76 as a frontline unit. Unless you have like 5 of them, in which case they can be, of course, really, really good. This Firefly is definitely in trouble. Going in without the support of the infantry with the Firefly is, of course, a huge mistake. The Firefly is essentially the same as the Jackson. It's got the same weaknesses. it doesn't have the turret rotation, it doesn't have the damage against infantry, it doesn't have the reload speed, it doesn't have the armor to deal with even medium tanks that can catch it off guard. No, what is this Panzer IV doing? Wow. Panzer IV is almost really lucky. So the out-of-control Firefly destroys the Panzer IV with its last remaining shot, but the land mattress friendly fires the Firefly. Interestingly, it doesn't say friendly skilled, so it might have actually been the Panzer IV. But I'm thinking that that was... Well, even if the Panzer IV hadn't killed the Firefly, that friendly fire would have killed it. I'm not sure what these land mattress shots are really all about, but oh well. M5 half-track coming in from Co-11. That is an interesting choice because at this point he's just trying to hold to North VP. The Allies are at 193 VPs, and so they need as many tickets as possible under their belt. They need to not lose VPs, and to hold VPs, the half-track is good because you can reinforce support weapons on the spot. Of course, he's not using it for that, which is, in my opinion, a pretty big mistake. Panther dives in for the T-3476, big mistake without any infantry support because the target vehicle comes in and does a lot of damage to it. In the meantime, it looks like the British infantry is going down to the German response of flamethrowers. Land mattress not doing well. Land mattress kills the Panther. Okay, very lucky, but also I guess I have to eat my words. This land mattress definitely paid for itself. The second one, however, still not doing anything. In the meantime, the Germans really need to send some troops to the south to do some harassment. Send the engineers. Send the engineers to just cap some points in the south. This point, this point, this point, the VP, they're all sort of left to fend for themselves. They could just go in and capture these points for no price at all. Even if the Allies send in some troops to defend the points, you have at least distracted them. That's just kind of the whole point of harassing. Oh, that's sexy. Stug showing the behind. Not sure why, though. Stug is at Veteran C2. Of course, the Stug is very strong as a anti-tank vehicle. And here comes the Tiger. So Bill Joey has the combination of a heavy tank and a tank destroyer that so many people love and enjoy because it is just obvious. You get a heavy tank to sort of soak up all the damage, and you have a tank destroyer in the back lines to snipe out enemy vehicles. Not sure what the Stug is doing over here, though. That's definitely very, 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 very ballsy of it. I don't think that it's gonna get out alive. What are you doing? You could have shot him. Interesting. You could have shot him. Weird pack. Stolen pack. Wonder if that was the Veteran C2 one. Yeah, it looks like the Veteran C2 pack is dead. Might have been this one, though. Tiger, in the meantime, doesn't really care about the land mattress. Land mattress doesn't seem to hit the engineers at all. Yeah, look, all this, like, you know... Whoa, what is this? Very nice flank coming in from the Grenadiers. However, it gets spotted by the Flugknecht. Interesting. There goes the M5 half-track. Yeah, M5 half-track goes down. In the meantime, Tiger is absolutely unopposed in destroying this T-34 because the pack went down to a nice push from this German MG42 using its armor-piercing rounds to kill the enemies as quickly as possible. In the meantime, all of the support weapons are just going down like a house of cards, and that's not very good for our allied friends. Indeed, it seems like they're just going to be going down very quickly. Ooh, T-3485 on the field for Code 11, whatever his name is. Yeah, I had forgotten that he had the T-3485s because he's just been going for so many T-3476s. Finally, one of the Fireflies is upgraded to the, you know, Tulip rockets, though. That's a very nice sign for the Allies. The Allies just need to consolidate. At this point, they know that the Germans have a lot of heavies and heavy, you know, units. So they need to be a little bit more wary of that. They're getting some successes against German infantry and support weapons, getting some wipes. So what they need to do is they need to consolidate their infantry forces. They need to actually get some infantry, get some map control going, and then get a lot of anti-tank guns and tank destroyers. because they need some way to counter the Tiger. They need some way to counter the Panther. There goes the Firefly. No. You should not have let it. Oh, okay. He actually kills the Firefly. Very good job. You should not have let the Firefly be in the front line. That is like the worst thing you can do with the Firefly. Firefly just needs to stay in the back line. It's not a Su-76. It's not, you know, it's not a Panther, etc., etc., etc. You need to think of it like a fragile anti-tank unit that's also not expendable. Very good job from the Tiger. Tiger's racking up the kills. This was indeed a very good purchase from Bill Joey. I still think that second Panzer IV was a mistake. I mean, he needed a vehicle right then and there that wasn't the Tiger because he couldn't just wait for the Tiger. It was too far away. But I still think he should have waited. So, Co-11 now has his T-34-85, right? He's realized that he can go for those. He's also going for a Su-85, so he's shaping up to be a fairly effective, especially at anti-tank force. He needs, however, to coordinate with his ally a little bit better and hold the center a little bit more. They need some map control. They need it now. It may seem like they have a lot of map control, but it's actually it's a bit of an illusion, because all of this side of the map is not defended. So if the Germans just send in some troops there, they're gonna essentially deprive the Allies of their last remaining resource income. That's just not very good. In the meantime, pretty good push by the Tiger. Actually third Sherman Firefly with Tulips is going to be forced away once again, and I'm thinking that right now, as you can see, the Soviet player isn't really going in and helping out his ally. I mean, of course he has to repair his T-34s, but he could go in with Su-85. Still not sure about this. The Germans also have a lot of stuff that they can send in from the north. They should definitely move up their array of support weapons to this line with this strategic point and the building, because they really need to have the support weapons in to help out. And Panzerwerfer. Panzerwerfer forces all of the British infantry to retreat and actually wipes out one of the squads. Very good. Okay, Bill Joey's Stug now needs to protect the Tiger, and the Tiger needs to be repaired. Thankfully, Bill Joey has more than one engineer squad. That is very good for him. And right now, also Mighty Staple Gun of Doom has more than one engineer squad. He's got his Panther on the field. He's pretty happy with his situation. He doesn't have a lot of resources to actually build up. And Bill Joey is at pop cap. So the Germans are in a fairly good position. They're built up. Now they just need to be a little bit more aggressive, be a little bit more compact, and then get their forces, consolidate, capture some points. What was that infiltration commando? Capture some points in the center and the south, and then just hold the center and the north. The south should just be a battleground of exchanges. One squad comes in, captures the points, then some enemies come in to counter that, you retreat, then you come in and do it again. Because the Germans, I don't think, really have the forces to hold all 3 points at once. But they can at least harass the south and force the Allies to send some troops there, because they have the advantage right now. They need to consolidate over the 2 points that they can for sure hold. But at the same time, if they can distract the Allies over other parts of the map, that would be better. Yeah, they have a lot of MGs, which is of course working out in their favor. Oh, this Panther really needs to pop some smoke. Oh, shit. Okay, Panther manages to escape, thankfully, because of a couple of bounces from the Su-85. Meantime, Tiger is repaired. It's got 22 kills under its belt, and it can get a few more, I believe. Oh, that's definitely not a very good choice from that Su-85, moving up without any infantry support with Grenadiers nearby, so I'm thinking that there's going to be some Panzerfaust. Definitely not good. Damaged engine means that the Tiger can come in and try to destroy it. Tiger is, of course, in danger, but there's no marked vehicle. Where's the Stug? Stug really needs to come in and support the Tiger. Tiger can almost finish off the Su-85. Unlucky. He definitely didn't want to overextend, but I think if I was him, I would have gone in for the destruction of the Su-85. Ooh, Firefly, though, was coming in. So he would have definitely lost the Tiger if he had gone in. Good choice to not go in. Very prudent. Yeah, I'm thinking that the Germans, if they can consolidate the north and the center, they're gonna have an easy time. Land Mattress finally doing what it's supposed to and bombarding the horde of support weapons, but it's just way too late. One of the Land Mattresses was lost. Doesn't look like it was captured by the Germans, but still, the Germans don't really need the Land Mattress at this point because the Allies don't really have a lot of targets for a Land Mattress. Oh god! Damaged Engine T-34 comes in and gets shot before they can actually reach the Panther. Very, very, very clutch shot by the Panther gunner. Yeah, that block, man, that was hilarious. That was also a pretty interesting usage of that T-34. It was already hit with a damaged engine and also a damaged gun. So it was a pretty, I guess, rational decision to use the T-34-76 that way. Wow, Ko-11 has 1,000 manpower and he has no infantry units. He's going for a mortar. No, don't go for a mortar. He went for a 120mm mortar, and he's now going for an AT gun. I agree with the AT gun, but he should be going for some guards. He needs some infantry. He needs some, you know, way to capture points, to charge in. He needs some backbone to his attacks. Definitely not working out in his favor to go for so many, you know, so many support weapons instead of just mainline infantry. He needs some infantry. Also, once again, he gets friendly fired by the Land Mattress. By he, I mean Timothy. Not the best choice. Tiger is trying to run over all of the British infantry. Doesn't really need to do it, though. Grenadiers coming in, and again, there's no counter because there's no infantry. Yeah, Ko-11 definitely needed to go for more infantry, and Timothy needed to play better with his vehicles. So I guess that's kind of the problem with the Allies. Oh, T-345 about to go down. Panther might just try to chase in, but it's going to get forced away by the marked vehicle. You could have chased. Yeah, Ko-11 definitely could have chased here. Going for a lot of Panzerwerfers, actually. 2 Panzerwerfers. Interesting little choice. I mean, the Germans did need a little bit of artillery, but I don't think 2 Panzerwerfers was the best choice. Nice. Stug takes out the T-34-85. And at this point, I'm thinking the game's over. Yeah, Stug is doing really well. Vet free. Going for that Stug life. Fire the Panzer for the engineers. Do it. Yeah, at this point, there's really not much that the Allies can do. They really lack the infantry at this point to push in, and they're not building any. Yeah, going for way too many Land Mattresses, way too many, at some point, way too many tank destroyers without, you know, using them correctly. Because getting tank destroyers was a good idea in this match. They needed to do it because the Germans had a lot of heavy stuff coming in. But they needed to be a little bit better to support it, and not kept so close to the front line. That's just criminal. You keep these Fireflies in the front line. Oh, a second or a third Panzer IV? That's an interesting choice from Billjoy. Anyway, yeah, you just don't keep tank destroyers in the front line. That's not what you do. Also, Su-85s being used essentially as medium tanks. That was not the best choice. He was just constantly pushing in Su-85s without any infantry support, just doing, you know, weird stuff. And that's just not good. You need to use your tank destroyers better. And you need to go for infantry, because otherwise the enemies are just going to have an easy time capturing and holding enough ground. And remember, what wins the game in Company of Heroes is not, you know, how well you can micro your units, how well you can win engagements tactically. It's the strategy. It's how many points can you capture, how many resources can you get, and of course how many victory points can you capture with as few forces as possible. And the Germans just did better at that. Eventually they also had a bit of a plan, which was to go for the Tiger and the Tier 4. They carried through with it. The Allies are just kind of taking a little bit, I don't know, I guess they just didn't know what to do. They got some tank destroyers and then they didn't protect them. That was so weird. Anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the cast. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you soon.